Hey everyone, and welcome to the FAQ Shack. This is the show where we take on those huge, messy topics you've always wondered about, and, well, we break it all down. Today, we are diving headfirst into a story that has it all: modern royalty, massive scandal, and a fall from grace that is just wow. So, as always, everything we're about to cover is based on the source material, which we lay out right here on the slide so you can follow along. And today's deep dive, it comes straight from you guys. We got this from Alex in London, who asks, can you explain the whole story with Prince Andrew and Fergie? How did it get so bad? Alex, that is a fantastic question. And trust me, you are not the only one asking. So if you've got a burning question you want us to tackle next, drop it in the comments below. We really do read every single one. Okay, so to really get the scale of this downfall, you have to see where they started. I mean, the contrast is just jarring. On one hand, you've got the 1980s, a dashing Playboy prince and a fun, vibrant duchess who are breathing new life into a stuffy monarchy. And then you have today, public pariahs stripped of their titles and sitting on literally the lowest popularity ratings in the history of the royal family. So the big question is, how on earth did they get from there to here? Well, this whole downward spiral really happened in two parts. First, we need to talk about the woman the press loves to call the Duchess of Chaos. We're going to look at how Sarah Ferguson's own scandals started creating the very first cracks in the foundation of the whole York brand. And you can see on this timeline, this wasn't just one bad moment. It was a pattern. It kicked off in a big way in 1992, while she was still married to Andrew, by the way, with those infamous toe-sucking photos splashed all over the tabloids. A huge embarrassment for the royals. Then, by 1995, a theme starts to emerge: serious money problems. We're talking debts of around £3.7 million. But the real kicker? That came in 2010, with the cash for access sting. She was caught on a hidden camera taking a briefcase full of cash from a reporter who was posing as a businessman, all for an introduction to Prince Andrew. And this quote, recorded during that very sting operation, kind of says it all. She explained her actions by saying, "I didn't have a pot to piss in." It's just such a raw admission of the financial desperation that was behind so many of these bad decisions. But, as damaging as all this was, it was really just the opening act. And that brings us to part two. Because Fergie's scandals, they were about public embarrassment and bad judgment. Prince Andrew's story, well, that's when things escalated into a whole other stratosphere, one involving incredibly disturbing criminal allegations. This was the point of no return. So let's just break down the core facts here. First, there was Prince Andrew's long friendship with a convicted sex offender, Jeffrey Epstein, a friendship he kept up even after Epstein's 2008 conviction. Then, the bombshell. Virginia Giuffre alleged that she was trafficked by Epstein and forced to have sex with Andrew on 3 separate occasions when she was only 17. Now, we have to be really clear here. Andrew has consistently and vehemently denied every single one of these allegations. The whole thing eventually led to a civil lawsuit in 2022, which he settled with Giuffre for a whole lot of money, but, and this is a key detail, without admitting any liability. So after years of this story bubbling under the surface, Prince Andrew decided to do something drastic. He sat down for a big interview with the BBC's Newsnight program in 2019. The plan, of course, was to clear his name, to put all the rumors to bed for good. Yeah, that is not what happened. The reaction was just instant and brutal. People in the media called it a car crash. Some even said it was nuclear explosion level bad. And you might be asking, why was it so bad? Well, viewers were just floored by what they saw as a total lack of empathy for Epstein's victims, and he offered up a string of explanations that were, frankly, bizarre. And this quote, this became a global punchline overnight. When he was asked for an alibi for one of the nights in question, his answer was, "I was at Pizza Express in Woking." That, plus other really strange claims, like saying he had a medical condition that made it impossible for him to sweat, it just wasn't believable to most people. He became a laughingstock, and any credibility he had left was just gone. The interview was such a disaster that the royal family, the institution itself, had no choice but to act. And that brings us to part 3, The Crown Strikes Back. This is the story of how the monarchy took some truly unprecedented steps to save itself, even if it meant cutting a senior royal loose. And look at this list. It wasn't just one thing. It was a complete and total removal from public life, piece by piece. It started just days after the interview in 2019, when he stepped back from his duties. Then in 2022, his own mother, the Queen, stripped him of his military titles and patronages. and he had to stop using his Royal Highness. But the final, unthinkable blow came in October 2025. His brother, the king, formally took away his birthright title of prince and even kicked him out of his royal home. And the official statement from Buckingham Palace just hammered the point home. They said, "These censures are deemed necessary, notwithstanding the fact that he continues to deny the allegations against him." The subtext there is loud and clear. It doesn't matter what you say anymore. The survival of the monarchy comes first. So, after all the scandals, the interview, the royal sanctions, what did the public think? What was the final verdict in the court of public opinion? Okay, let's look at the actual numbers. Just look at that number on your screen, 4%. That is the percentage of the British public who have a positive opinion of the man now simply known as Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor. To be clear, that is the lowest popularity score ever recorded for any member of the royal family, ever. And this table really puts that 4% in perspective. I mean, it's just staggering. You've got Prince William up at 71%, King Charles at 63%, heck, even Sarah Ferguson is at 16%. Andrew's 4% isn't just low, it's like he's on a different planet from the rest of his family. It's a statistical black hole. And this chart tells the whole story. You see that giant slice? That's 81% of people with a very negative view. Add the 10% with a fairly negative view and you get 91%. A staggering 91% of the public has an unfavorable opinion of him. It is about as close as you can get to a unanimous public rejection. All right, so before we wrap this all up, it is time to open up the FAQ Shack mailbag and answer one of the great follow-up questions you guys have been sending in. We got this one from Chloe in Manchester, and it's a question we've seen a lot. She asks, what does all this mean for his daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie? And that is such an important piece of this whole puzzle. Well, Chloe, the term that royal experts keep using to describe the princesses is collateral damage. So the good news for them is that their titles are granted independently. They're safe. But the family name, the York brand, that is now considered, and this is a direct quote, truly toxic. And that obviously creates huge challenges for them as they try to carve out their own roles within the family. So when you step back and look at the whole messy picture, what is the legacy of the Yorks? Is this just a sad family drama, or is it something bigger, like a cautionary tale for the monarchy itself? I think when you boil it all down, the biggest takeaway is this. The story of the Yorks marks a massive shift. We have literally watched the crown decide that its own survival is more important than family loyalty, in a way that would have been completely unthinkable just a generation or two ago. Which leaves us with one final big question to chew on. As the monarchy tries to figure out its future, how much more is it going to have to change to survive the powerful court of public opinion? We'd love to know what you think, so let us know down in the comments. Thanks for stopping by the FAQ Shack, and we'll see you for the next deep dive.